Today is Monday, July 6, 2026. Here are the day's main stories. We begin this morning in Ukraine, where Russian forces have launched a new wave of missile and drone attacks on the capital, Kyiv. Authorities say at least 11 people have been killed and 60 wounded in the early Monday strikes.
Emergency workers are currently sifting through rubble at residential high-rise buildings in two districts that suffered direct hits. 3 more people were killed in the wider Kyiv region, and rescue efforts are continuing at more than 20 locations. This marks the second major Russian attack on Kyiv in less than a week, coming just days after a strike on Thursday killed 31 people in the capital. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had warned hours earlier that a large-scale attack was imminent. Russia's defense ministry said the bombardment was in retaliation for Ukraine's recent long-range strikes, which have caused severe fuel shortages and put pressure on President Vladimir Putin. The attacks also come on the eve of the NATO summit in Turkey, where President Zelensky is expected to meet with President Trump.
Shifting to that NATO summit, President Donald Trump is heading to Turkey this week with a clear mission: to enforce defense spending pledges from alliance members.
President Trump is set to meet with leaders in Ankara, where he expects allies to immediately step up their defense spending to 5% of their annual gross domestic product over the next decade. This demand follows last year's summit, where most NATO countries largely acceded to his call for increased contributions, a move that has reshaped the alliance. Matt Whitaker, the United States ambassador to NATO, told reporters that President Trump fully expects that all allies will step up immediately and get on the path to 5% and do it with urgency. The president has been vocal in recent days about what he perceives as disproportionate United States defense spending compared to other member nations, even as he continues to engage in disagreements with allies over various issues.
In sports, the United States men's national soccer team faces Belgium today in the FIFA World Cup round of 16. The match comes with a cloud of controversy, but also good news for the American side.
Star striker Folarin Balogun is back in the lineup for the United States, after FIFA's disciplinary committee made an unusual move to delay his one-game red card ban. Balogun received the card in last week's round of 32 match against Bosnia-Herzegovina. The decision to lift the ban came after President Trump reportedly spoke with FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Questions had been raised about the severity of Balogun's punishment and the referee's process. Despite the controversy, Balogun and his teammates arrived in Seattle prepared for what is being called their biggest game in a generation.
In other international news, a funeral procession for Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is underway in Tehran this morning.
The Philippine Senate has opened the politically volatile impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte.
China has test-fired a long-range ballistic missile in the Pacific, a move that has angered neighboring countries.
Super Typhoon Bobby has made landfall on Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands. The United States National Weather Service warns the storm, packing winds of nearly 290 kilometers per hour, could cause catastrophic damage, with waves potentially reaching nearly 11 meters high.
In World Cup news from yesterday, Mexico's run ended with a 3-2 loss to England at Estadio Azteca. England's Jude Bellingham scored twice in a 98-second span in the first half. Mexico had not conceded a goal in its first 4 World Cup matches and played with a man advantage for most of the second half, but could not equalize. The defeat ends Mexico's hopes for its first quarter-final appearance since 1986.
The Australian Space Agency says it has identified the likely source of mysterious large balls that washed up on a beach in northern Queensland this weekend. The agency believes they are pressure vessels from a space launch vehicle and is working with international authorities to confirm the origin.
A 12-year-old girl in Venezuela, Fabiana, has recounted her survival after being trapped under earthquake rubble for 32 hours. Fabiana said she ate ketchup and cheese while awaiting rescue after 2 powerful quakes rocked the country on June 24th.
And Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has apologized unequivocally for comments he made about pop star Kylie Minogue in a podcast interview last week.
That was the NDP Media News Digest. Thanks for listening.